Hit the button. As you can see, my friend James, may I call you James? James is sad. James is sad because according to the clock, it is now 10:10. It should be PM. I should have made the background black. James is sad because it's past 10 p.m. So James is not going to be able to play video games anymore because according to an article from the BBC, well, it's news that's going around, but I have the BBC article open up. China is intending to impose some sort of curfew, gaming curfews, and gaming regulations to curb gaming addiction, to curb what they see as gaming addiction, specifically for minors. This is specifically for minors. I don't want to talk about China. I don't want to talk about the government over there. I don't want to talk about any of that. What I do want to talk about, though, well, let's China, no surprise. What I do want to talk about are the things that they're talking about implementing and how you feel about them as far as do you think they would work or not. Because I thought this was a more interesting topic because I see this and I know what's going to happen. People are going to see this and they're going to say, China. They're going to talk about China and they're going to talk about the regime and they're going to talk about Hong Kong and that's going to talk about Blizzard and you know what I mean? We're going to talk about all that stuff. But when I read this, I remembered thinking, well, that might not work. You know, that specific thing that they're talking about doing might not work. And then it made me think, I kind of want to ask everybody. So this article says China is imposing a curfew on online gaming for minors, the government has announced. Gamers under 18 will be banned from playing online between basically 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. So in between that time, they're not going to have... this isn't a good idea. Well, we're not talking about political stuff. I'm not talking about political stuff. Let's get that right off the bat. This is not a political conversation. If anybody wants to have a political conversation, I'm sure there are other channels where you can do that. What I'm going to talk about are these specific things. So gamers under 18 will be banned from playing online between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. They will also be restricted to 90 minutes of gaming on weekdays and 3 hours on weekends and holidays. That's the first thing. Do you think that that's effective? Do you think that banning, not being able to play after 10 p.m.? First of all, I'm super interested in how they're going to enforce that. Are they going to punish? How are they going to enforce any of this? Are they going to punish parents if they find out that the kids are doing this? Are they going to force video game companies to impose some sort of curfew? You know, you're playing World of Warcraft and according to your account, you're 16 years old. At 10 p.m., they kick you out of the game. Like, is that going to happen? I'm interested to see how they can implement some of these and who they're going to punish if these things are broken. I smell the resistance, bro. Yeah, what about console? Yeah, from playing games online. Well, consoles go online. You know, that's why you're talking about online gaming. So you're talking about, you know, you play Fortnite on your PS4, you go online with that. It's probably a network shutdown curfew. Yeah, remember, for everybody, I know that it's difficult to separate the two. This is not a conversation about China. This is not a conversation about their policies. This is not a conversation about any of that. If unfortunately, if that does keep going, I will have to agree with Blizzard and shut it all down. And it'll be Blizzard's fault. No, what I'm curious about is, do you think that would work? Do you think that it would be effective? I'm more interested in this one, in the fact that it will restrict 90 minutes of gaming on weekdays and 3 hours. So basically, kids would only be allowed to play video games for an hour and a half. And this is online games, I guess. I find this very interesting. So what about game? Aqua, that's another that's another question that I have, because these seem to specify online specifically. So home game, offline games, who cares?
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
GamerDude78, thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciate that. By the way, 78 is my birth year. 1978, not 78. I'm not like 1940 something years old. Yeah, Green Soul, that's sort of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's not going to be effective. I don't think that that's good. I think that 90 minutes of gaming online, I'm going to assume they're talking about online gaming, because you have no control over what people do in their homes. So I'm going to assume 90 minutes of online gaming. So obviously, happy early birthday. A few months late. I guess it would work. I find it very interesting, and I'm curious to see how they enforce it. Now, the other thing that they're talking about doing, this is something that I'm very interested in. Again, who they're going to punish and how they're going to punish them. Gamers 8 to 16 years old can spend up to 200 yuan, which is 22 pounds or $29 a month, while those between 16 and 18 can spend up to 400 yuan. That's interesting. You're restricting how much they're able to buy. My curiosity, again, how are you going to curb that? How are you going to restrict that? Are you going to make game companies do it? And more importantly, as an 8-year-old, I never had $29 to spend on DLC. They'll punish the whole family. Trying to envision how it would work is near unfathomable for anyone not in the culture like China has. Yeah. So they're predisposed to think it won't work. Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to, I don't think it's going to work, because functionally, I don't know that it can work. Yeah, they'll punish the whole family. While limit spending habit. Okay, so this is one that I agree with. I agree with this for a few reasons, for some odd reasons. I agree with this because I don't think kids should be spending more than $30 a month on online games anyway. And I'm thinking more about DLC. I'm thinking about DLC. I'm not thinking about purchasing full games, because technically at $29 as a limit, you couldn't buy a single game. You could only buy indie games. You could not buy a AAA title game. I also don't think, but I do think it's interesting, because as weird as it sounds, it's going to teach some of those people the value of money. If they say I can only spend $29, 200 yuan this month, and this character costs 100, I don't want to do that, because I don't want to waste that opportunity. Like, I don't want to be able to not buy anything for the month. I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting. The MT limit is a good idea. Help reduce gambling addiction and curb the MT system. Microtransaction, by the way. I would assume that they would keep tabs on the systems and punish the companies. I wonder if you're right. That's probably the best way to do it, is to, when you make an account, you have to put in your age. Which, you just say you're 21. But it's probably the situation where companies are going to say, all right, you have to be able to put a lock on their account. Which is just very, very interesting. I'm interested to see what this does to the gaming market over there. Yeah, I don't hate the idea of spending. I think a spending limit would curb gambling. Especially since he's talking about kids. So I think it would curb gambling. I think it would curb overspending. Look what happened with China and the NBA. The NBA isn't even based in China. Fairly certain they have near complete control. Yeah, you're right. But again, that's a China thing. This shit, an old friend of mine back when he was 17 spent 17 spent $150 on Fortnite. Like, if you've got the money, that's fantastic. But there are people out there spending that money who don't have the money. Hey, Dad, I want to buy this, but the government won't let me buy this. Can you buy it for me? Yeah. That's what's going to end up happening. You know, kids are going to be upset, and the parents are just going to buy it for them anyway. That's where they're getting their money. And that's what sort of gets me about this. You know, that's a situation where the parents should be deciding that stuff. You know, my 8-year-old can't spend more than $30 a month on his online game. You know how I curb that? I don't give him $30 a month. That should be an obvious one, but that's not something that it's not the kid's responsibility or the game company's responsibility. It should be the responsibility of the parents. That's what made me question who they're going to be punishing. Because if a kid spends more than $30 a month, the only person who is at fault there is really the parent, because that's where they're getting their money from. I think they're serious with all of it. I don't think any of it's going to work. And that was my point that I wanted to talk about was do you think that this stuff is going to work? Now the question is, what would work? What do you think would work if you wanted to do something to curb what you believe was over gaming? Not as a parent, it's as a government. If again, not like a cruel regime, but what sort of regulations would you put into effect if there are any? Do you think that there's anything that a government, that any organization could do to curb what you see as a problem? Hey, Sean, talking about China's laws to curb gaming, what they consider to be over gaming, and whether or not you think they'll work. This is not a discussion about China. What will work is to reach out to the parents because it's up to them. Teach them the true value of regulations and such. Explain what are the goods and bads of gaming. It's as simple as that. Yeah, educate. I think education is probably one of the best things you can do, and get people to understand, get people to identify what is a problem. See, here's the thing, and this is something that people don't seem to understand, and I think needs to be understood. If your kid is playing so many video games that their grades are suffering, that's a problem, and you need to curb their video game usage so that they can get their grades up. I played a crap ton of video games and got straight A's in grade school. I was definitely the nerd. So my parents didn't stop me from playing all of the video games that I was playing because my grades were still, and they used to say it to me all the time, if your grades start slipping, you're going to take that Nintendo away. My grades didn't slip. That I was fine. I think that these sorts of things, video game addiction, I think all of that stuff needs to be monitored and dealt with if it's creating a problem. Because I don't think kids, if playing video games is the problem. I think that it's entirely possible that it's a symptom of another problem. I think there are plenty of kids out there who latch on to video games because they're being bullied outside, they're being bullied at school, and they don't want to deal with anybody, so they come home and they play video games, and it's their escape. I think that if your kid decides that they want to spend 5 hours a day playing video games, I think that you should probably sit down and talk with them and ask them, is there something going on that you don't want to go outside, that you don't like going to school? You know, there could be an issue there, but them playing video game, I mean, I was sort of picked on, but I didn't really care. I play video games because I liked it. I liked the challenge of playing the games. That's why I started playing RPGs. When I discovered the games like Adventure on the Atari 2600 and eventually Final Fantasy 1, I latched onto those kinds of games because I liked the challenge of it. I liked the my mind had to work to solve a problem. I like that. You know, being bullied, I really didn't care because I wasn't like physically attacked mostly, but they picked on me and they called me names. I didn't care because they were irrelevant to me, because I knew that later on I was going to go home where my mom was there and she loved me very much, and my family was around, and my video games were there, and my dog was there, and that was it. I was very aware of the fact that I didn't have to deal with these kids all the time, so what they say is irrelevant to me. It was physical abuse that was really the problem. Question: why are these people gaming all the time? Yeah, what's going on in their life? Their desire to escape. Exactly, Sean. Something like curbing a possible addiction is complex and requires some thought. I would know a good place to start is to imply system thinking. I do know a reason for gaming addiction is linked to something else. It's a symptom of a bigger problem. Yeah, I'm more interested to see if a government can do anything. And I don't know that they can. I was trying to say earlier, parents should be responsible for their children's gaming habits, therefore should be the ones enforcing curfews and spending limits. Fox, for the 5 bits, let me scroll down some of these comments here. I think the parents need to understand how these systems work. Blaming the games or government like they did with YouTube and Apple. To me, Spectre, it's no different than my kids getting bad grades and going and yelling at the teacher. That to me is sort of the same thing where, it's that damn YouTube. No, it's the fact that you let them use all of that stuff. It's the fact that your kids' grades are suffering because they go online all the time and you're not curbing how much they go online. Parents like having a digital babysitter. Yeah, they don't want to have to deal with it. They park their kid in front of the computer and then they question why the kid doesn't want to do anything else. My mother used to move from village to village, and because of my autism, I wasn't really good at making friends. I was going insane, but I wasn't allowed to play any games whatsoever. Yeah, like you need to be mentally stimulated, and video games do that. Mine did for a bit, as in grades. They stopped me from going online in every way. Well, the bullying got worse, and eventually it caused some social anxiety issues. Oh yeah, I'm all kinds of anxiety. The only thing that's standing between them is the parent. Yeah, if the parent isn't obligated to take it upon themselves to rightfully decide what's best for the child. In fact, the law should have been more specific. Yeah, like what Greg said, kids flunking grades, but it has to be. But no, it has to be all kids in China. Yeah, and not all kids need that. That's why I don't know that sweeping law reform is what's going to fix the problem. If you have a problem at all. I was like, uncle, my dad never minded me playing video games as long as I made sure it wasn't an obsession. I read books, ran around outside. Yeah, did other stuff. Yeah. I came home with straight A's. My parents were fine. They were totally happy. They were happy to buy me video games. I constantly was like, oh, I got perfect A's, and at the end of the school year, I get a new game. It was fine. When it started to hurt my scores, that would have been a problem. My scores didn't dip until I got to high school, and then I turned into an idiot. A little too much. I think there's a little too much of an idealistic look at this policy. Yeah, you can't really separate an idea. Yeah, and that's sort of the looking at it from the lens of Western country. Yeah, and that's always going to be DB Stewart. That's always with a conversation like this. That's always going to be the problem. Is that we're looking at it from a Western ideal, from a Western standpoint. We don't know what's going on over there. We don't know what their society values over there. So they might not. They might have significantly different values than we do. All kids being forcefully restricted to play less games, which could be a form of, yeah. Chaos, I foresee that turning into a problem for a lot of kids. For the kids out there who video games are an escape, locking them away from that escape, I think is going to create a bigger problem than letting them play video games. One thing they could do is allow their kids to play games on days off from school. Well, the weekend, it said 3 hours max on the weekends, I think. Which is 90 minutes over the course of 2 days. So 90 minutes a day. Yeah. Bert, you actually raised a good point there. If you can't play your games, Mr. Sonic, have a good one. If you can't play your games, just come here and we'll play them. I'll play them for you. Uh, it'll create highs. Yeah, which I think China already has a significant problem with that. Unfortunately, the reality is it's just while I obviously haven't been there and don't know all of that stuff firsthand, I'm not a poli sci major or anything like that. I always hear about there being just a lot of, because I think it's like 1 billion people that live over there. I mean, we talk about some areas of the United States being feeling a bit crowded, and we have 350 million people here. They have well over 1 billion. I imagine that their problems, that magnifies their problems significantly. I'm not going to delve into that because that's a pretty grim topic. I will say, to pushing 1.5 billion now. What is it? I know that it was like the Apple company had like these nets that they installed, and I'll let you look that up. It's a gruesome thing, but they would install these nets on these buildings, and there was a very, very, very hard reason for it. Parents who love to play video games just as much. Yeah, I guess. I think chaos. I think it's a check and balance. I think that's the check and balance. There is that the government's going to say something, and the parents are going to say, "Well, I don't agree. I don't care. You keep playing. Go ahead. I'll tell them. I'll make an account for you. Keep playing. Go ahead. It makes you happy. You're getting good grades. Go for it." I know that's what my father used to do. Like my father, stuff would happen, and they'd be like, "Yeah, you're getting A's. You're fine." Yeah, they have like a quarter of the total population of the planet, and they live in an area that is I don't think China is much bigger than is China like gigantic? My sense of size is all over the place. Yeah, 1.386 billion people. Yeah, I don't think it's a whole lot bigger than the United States. Another one that's like that is India. I always heard India has something like 800 million people. Yeah, good grades, more playtime. Yeah. My grades suffered. I got bad on the test. Sit down, do your homework. You got all A's this semester? Play your Zelda game as much as you want. Yeah, it's population dense. But yeah. That was what I wanted to talk about. Somebody had linked to me. It might have been Lilac. If Lilac is still, yeah, Lilac's still here. It might have been Lilac that linked it to me and asked me if that was something that we would talk about. And I knew right off the bat I did not want to talk about it. That's why I haven't talked about Blizzard or anything like that. I knew I didn't want to talk about that stuff. But the actual things that they were implementing, I thought was very interesting, and I thought that was an interesting topic point as to whether or not it would even work. You know, as to whether or not if there was anything that would work that could be implemented on that grand scale. I would just say that if you were going to implement anything, it would be incentive programs for people who do well. I think that's something that would go very well, is incentive programs for kids who do well in school. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but if you funneled money into a program where kids at the end of a semester got $20 if they got all A's, you know, or if they, or $20 an A or something like that. I know it seems like bribery. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it sounds like you're bribing kids to get good grades. As a grown-up, we learn that when you work hard, you make money. You get a job and you work so that you can make money. Why shouldn't kids learn that? Start them in high school. When you start high school, you get a $20 bill from the government. You know, it sounds stupid, and obviously it's expensive, but it teaches kids at an earlier age that you work for money, and when you don't do the work, you don't get money. I don't know. I think that would be very interesting. I think I would love to see how that works. Which, by the way, I heard something weird the other day that Japanese high schoolers, there's like a stipend or something. Yeah, I call it rewarding and incentivizing. I call it Lilac. I call it you work and you get paid. High schoolers, their job is to go to school. If you do the work, you should get paid for it. But I saw something about like Japanese high schools. There are Japanese high schools where that's what they do. Like every month, Japanese high schoolers get like some sort of living stipend or something. And I don't know if that was true or not. It doesn't sound true, right? Pokemon Go encourages exercise by making it fun and entertaining. Yeah, so does Ring Fit. Two countries that border each other carry nearly 3 billion. Yeah, let me see. Hold on. India, because I mentioned that India population. I know India is another one with crazy high population. No way. Are you serious? According to this, China has 1.386 billion people in it, and India has 1.339 billion people in it. I did not know that they had crossed the billion mark. Yikes. Drago looks in Drago, right? Is it Drago? Yeah, I really want to see that game. I want to play that game. But yeah, so that's I just wanted to have a conversation about that. I'm sorry I muscled into the viewer topic portion of the show, but viewer topics for what time we have left. If anybody has topics that they want to discuss, you go right ahead. No China. Feel free to bring up anything. This is if you have a topic you want to discuss, if you have a question you want to ask, feel free to do that. That's what this whole segment is all about. So go for it. We'll run later if we have to. They both crossed that. And see, I thought China was in the billion for a little while now. Yeah, in the early aughts, they already crossed over. Good Lord. The only possible problem I see is it would not likely encourage students to learn from the fun of it. Another issue if you're working to figure out ways to make learning. Yeah, I you know what though? Aqua, I'll take effective learning before I'll take fun learning. Fun learning sounds great, but effective learning seems to be more important. I don't know. I just think that's it. So here's my question about something that occurred a few weeks ago. Do you think that full price games like Fallout 76 should include paid subscription? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that if your intention from the beginning is to include a paid subscription service, I think that the game should be cheaper. I think that it should, especially if you're talking about Fallout 76 was like $100 a year or something. I think that your game should have been at max $20. Maximum $20. If the subscription service is the primary gameplay aspect, if you have a full-blown single-player game and then you decide to include an online component that costs money, just don't pay for the online component and you still got a $60 game. But if your $60 game is an entry point into a subscription system, it should not be costing you $60. Yeah. Viewer topic, what is your 10 games of the decade? I don't know. Lizard, that's a good idea for a more fleshed out topic. But off the top of my head, I can guarantee you that I can't say. I really don't know. Tomb Raider comes to mind though. Tomb Raider comes to mind. I don't know that I would say Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to really, really sit down and think about it. But for some reason, Tomb Raider is the first one that popped into my mind because I thought that, even though I only played through it once, I think that game still blew me away with how good it was. The Batman casting, I didn't see them. I saw. Let me see here. I saw Robert Pattinson as Batman, and I like that one. I like Robert Pattinson. Batman castings. I didn't think. More Batman casting announcements coming soon. Okay, so hold on. I mean, I probably did see them. What? Boris Kit and Maya. Okay. Jeffrey Wright and Jonah Hill are in negotiations to appear in Batman. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that. What are the other announcements? All I know of is Robert Pattinson, which I think is good. I think it's a good cast. I think he did a good job at playing a broody character, even though the movie that he was in the series that he was in was a trash series. That combined is around 2/7 of our global population. Yikes. The Extra Life DDoS and accusations that accusation thing on that I'm not even going to talk about that because that guy is unhinged. If you go to that person's Twitter page, it is full of crazy conspiracy theories. That is an unhinged human being and does not deserve to be talked about. I have a question about Twitch streaming, but I don't know if I should. Go for it. That's what this is. This is the viewer topic portion. Spectre, one thing I learned a long time ago is that if you have a question, ask it because somebody else is probably wondering the answer too. Discuss the most bizarre advertisement that is happening. Would you like to discuss the most bizarre advertisement that is happening in Akihabara? I did not see that. What is? Oh my god, do I even want to know? Mainly because retail copies is $76 over. Yeah, that's real edgy. The fact that the game is $15 does help. I don't know. I think the biggest problem is that it's Fallout 76 and that game just pissed everybody off from start to finish. Jeffrey Wright is officially Gordon. Okay, so Jeffrey Wright is officially Gordon. Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman. Zoe Kravitz is bizarre to me, so maybe that'll work. Paul Dano. Let me see who Paul Dano is, because that name is familiar to me, but I don't know them. Dano. Welcome, Dano. Oh. Okay, I see them. He's Riddler. That's a good Riddler. That's a pretty good Riddler. I like the look. Uh-oh. Yeah, I like the look. Okay, well, I've been streaming for a month now, and it feels like I'm either getting nowhere, making people upset indirectly, or both. And it's the setting of the playthrough I'm most passionate about doing now is my Bravely Default 100% hard mode, and it's the one with the worst numbers. Does anybody have any advice for me? The only advice I could really give is just sort of keep at it. I mean, do it because you enjoy it. If you have to turn chat off every once in a while, you do that. You know, I've been to streams where they don't have chat on, or they're just not looking at it. Do it because you enjoy it. Realistically, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. I think that's an issue where people, they think they have to tough it out, and really you don't. Tough it out, stick with it. All of that advice is for people who are enjoying it, but don't feel like they're getting the return. They don't feel like they're getting the views. They don't feel like they're getting the support. That's for those people. If you're hating it, if you're not enjoying it, don't tough it out. Stop doing it. Sorry for asking, who's the unhinged guy? This guy? That's me. Bethesda really should just give up. Wait, what do you mean the unhinged guy? Guess someone didn't know, but yeah, it's quite funny. I thought it'd be funny to talk about. Let's say some company got the idea to plaster their advertisement on an upcoming hentai game, and the image is very inappropriate by Japanese standards. Oh. Hold on. Let's just say some company got the idea to plaster their advertisement on their upcoming hentai game, and the advertisements are very inappropriate even by Japanese standards. There have been complaints about it by resident. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to look at those. I'm gonna have to look at those for research purposes. I'm also stay focused on one thing at a time. Yeah. People always ask questions like, what should you stream? And stream what you like. If you're enjoying Bravely Default hard mode 100%, keep playing it. If you are getting backseat gamed, put no backseat gaming. There's a tag for no backseat gaming. That sometimes that stuff works. Don't be afraid to ban somebody if they come in and they make a comment. There is a stick with it. If you're enjoying it, you stick with it. But if you're not enjoying it, stop. The conspiracy. Yeah, I'm not even gonna get into that. I agree with Greg. I know should I say focus on one thing at a time. If you're putting a ton of energy into two major things, yeah. I mean, when I constantly have said that I am very aware that when I started streaming, I got a leg up on it because of Johnny and my appearances in SGB. It gave me a leg up on the whole thing, but realistically, we're still very small potatoes here. The stream has grown. The stream has grown from my laptop camera and my little desk area upstairs to this setup here. The stream has definitely grown. But I look at, sometimes, and I'll admit, I look at the view counts, I look at all of that stuff, and I think, oh man, I feel like after 2 years, it could be higher. You know what I mean? Not it should. And that's the one thing. I don't say it should be higher. The view count should be higher. The revenue should be higher. Anything like that. I think it could be. It could be. Maybe there was something I should have been doing along the way. Maybe I should have been advertising more along the way, or doing more collabs with other people along the way. And I think about that sometimes. And then I realize, you know what? All that's going to do is create a situation where what I have is never good enough. Because if I suddenly get 2,000 followers, I'll think in 6 months there'll still be 2,000 followers, and I'll think should probably be more now, right? Like, I had 2,000 followers a while ago. I really should be up further. Like, and that's the sort of thing where I'm like, I'm never going to. A lot of the biggest danger is that we're never going to live up to the standard that we create for ourselves. Just have a good time. People are going to stop into your stream and they're going to see it and they're going to say, "Oh man, this guy's enjoying himself. This guy's enjoying the game that he's playing." That kind of positivity is what keeps people around. Do what I do and make fidget spinner emotes. Here, hold on, my phone. Ooh, fidget spinner. I don't know. Hello and welcome. I'm Vine Sauce Greg. Yeah, right. I'm the angry video game geek. Grr. You know what I mean? Like, you could do a whole bunch of stuff and try and draw people in some goofy way. But then in the end, you're like, but I'm not enjoying it. This isn't me. This isn't what I'm doing. That's why, I started doing this. I was like, I'm just going to go on and play games, be me, to have a conversation. I like to, as much introvert as I am, I like to be able to talk to people. And this is my chance to talk to everybody. The angry video game uncle. AVG, yeah, AVGU. Yeah, it's just have a good time. Just have a good time. 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. my time zone. But yeah, just have fun when you're streaming. Just enjoy yourself. The day that you sit down and go to stream and you think, oh, here we freaking go again. Reassess your priority. Reassess whether or not you want to do that. Same Greg might say, oh yeah, I'm hardcore introvert. But I like talking to everybody. It's funny, Chaos. It's interesting because I'm very, very introverted, but one of the things I like about streaming, because I remember before I started streaming, I thought, yeah, but I don't, it's like performing, being on a stream is like performing for people, and it's I'm not really comfortable doing that. And I realized that, no, you don't have to perform. You just come on and be yourself, but I get to do it without someone here. You know what I mean? If someone was sitting right next to me, I could sing karaoke. I sang karaoke on stream once. We did Twitch Sings. It was great. In person, I need like 5 drinks before I can do karaoke because I'm so uncomfortable. Everybody's judging me. Everybody's watching me. I don't dance in public. I don't do any of that. You know, everybody's looking at me. You know, when I go to the gym, I go to the treadmills in the back so nobody can look. Nobody can be looking from the back of me and see this guy on the treadmill struggling. You know, that's sort of how I am. You know, so this is very helpful for me. This is cathartic. Any advice for a shy, antisocial person who has no idea how to deal with people? Work on yourself. Focus on yourself. I think a lot of people don't like socializing because they don't think they have anything positive to contribute. So educate yourself, you know, culture yourself, learn different things, learn about different places, learn about different cultures and ideas and beliefs. And when it comes time to be a little more social, you will feel like you have something to contribute to the conversation, and that will help. It'll help you come out of your shell a little bit. Do you ever have a hard time getting through long games? Sakamoto, yes, because now I have different problems. Now I have real life stuff that I have to do. Sorry, my ear is like super itchy. Now I have to do, it's difficult for me to get through long RPGs because I may only have 2 hours a day to play, you know, back as opposed to when I was a kid or when I was in high school and I would go to school and come home and then I didn't have a job or anything. So that was it. That was all I did. But now, you know, you've got a lot of responsibilities and stuff. So it's difficult to get through longer games. When I have the time and the inclination to play them, I have no problem sitting for long stretches of time and playing games. The issue is just that logistically, I don't have the ability to do it as much as I used to. I appreciate streams with commentary a lot as someone who spends his life 24/7 by himself. Having someone to talk about a game or something else fills the empty void in my room, and the background noise keeps me company. That's why I used to turn the TV on. I'd mindlessly turn the TV on for background noise, and that's why I don't miss cable. Same Greg, yeah, I don't think I can karaoke without, I need alcohol. But not here. I have to go, Uncle. I will catch you on Monday. Lizard, have a good one. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourself. And thank you for stopping in, of course. I really like having a conversation with people, but at the same time, sometimes I hardly even speak. Whenever I was in classes, and someone would say, man, he's quiet. It's not that I'm quiet. I have nothing to say at the moment. Chaos. Another important thing is that if you're an introvert, you realize you don't have to talk all the time. It's more interesting sometimes for you to listen to what everybody else is saying, which people don't do enough anyway. I don't mind being part of a conversation where I'm doing most of the listening, because I learn a lot. I learn about different things and I learn about different people. And then when they say, "Oh, you're not saying much," like, I'm listening. I'm absorbed in the conversation. You know, that's the point. If you have a conversation, if there's 4 people having a conversation and everybody's trying to be the one talking, nobody's listening. Nobody's hearing anything that's being said, and it's just a waste of time. That's a big introvert thing. A big introvert thing is that introverts are not huge fans of small talk because they find it to be a waste of time. And that's a big issue. Like an introvert, when you get us started on a topic that we're passionate about, or we get to listen to somebody talk about a topic that they're passionate about, I think most introverts are more comfortable in that particular situation because we either are able to contribute something that we're knowledgeable about, or we, especially if you're a very empathetic person, me personally, I love listening to people talk about the things that they're passionate about because I love listening to their passion. I can listen to somebody who is very, very knowledgeable about sports. I can listen to them talk about sports. I don't have much of an interest in sports, but when I hear in their voice how much they enjoy it, when I see in their eyes how much they like talking about this, that usually is enough to carry me through the conversation and even ask like follow-up questions and stuff, kind of because I want to be in that moment with them. You know, they're geeking out. They're geeking out about something that they really, really love. I love doing that. So when somebody else is doing it, I love that positive energy. I'm fine with that. It's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of rage out streams and rage out videos and stuff, because that's negative energy and that doesn't interest me. I'm much more interested in positive energy. Yeah, I do it with games, comics, movies, science, and sometimes books. Yeah, that's more interesting to me. Positivity will always be a better way to attract me into something. I'm super jealous of people who can go up to random strangers. I mean, see, I'm jealous of that, Fox, but then I realize that if you go around walking up to people and making conversation with strangers, are you doing it so much that you're never stopping to have a meaningful conversation? A small circle of good friends will always be better than knowing everyone in a crowd, but only knowing their name. You always focus on your small circle of friends. I put a DLTR, basically open your interests or find areas that interest. Yeah. Look for your own interests. Find yourself. You're never gonna connect with anybody if you don't connect with yourself first. If you don't know who you are. Green hat hero, introvert here, and I can relate to all that very much. Very true. Love being passionate and hearing other people's passions. Good icebreaker question I asked lately is, what are you passionate about right now? Yeah, that's a good one. What are you passionate about right now? What are you into? You know what? Green hat, I will say that what are you passionate about right now sometimes comes across as a very intense question, especially depending on who you're asking. What I will just say is, like, what are you into? You know, tell me what you're into. And when they say, "Oh, well, I just saw this movie," like, "Oh, you know, so you're in the movie," I would say something like that. If they try and make it broad, like, "Oh, well, I just saw Joker." Oh, is that, you know, are you like a DC fan, or, you know, follow up questions that sort of lead into what they really, really like to do. It takes practice. I know it sounds weird. That any extroverts out there, it sounds weird to say, but for introverts, it really takes practice to know how to talk to people. Because of my brothers and my girlfriend, I'm now able to approach people more comfortably than I ever would have. Reminds me of how people like to watch reaction videos to video game announcements just because. Oh, I love that. John Poncho, I love watching reaction videos. Like when Metroid Prime 4 came out, I watched like 10-minute video of people reacting to Metroid Prime 4. And the ones that always sucked were the ones where there was a bunch of people, like 4 people or so, and then there was that one guy that's like, "Oh, but all we saw was the title screen." Like, shut up with your negativity. Get out of my video. Yeah, it depends on the person. Yeah, some people can be scared off. I asked my friend for advice about that. For me, it takes a lot to talk to people still. Playing MMOs helped me get more confidence, but my Asperger's loves popping in at the worst moment. Yeah, MMOs. I played WoW back when it was Wrath of the Lich King, and the level cap was 80. I played WoW to level 80 without talking to anybody because I constantly felt like they're gonna think I'm an idiot. My coworkers are in the games I am. I can't hold a conversation with them because not only am I shy, I'm also very tired. Wait for your moment. You know what I mean? Absorb what they say about video games. Learn what they're talking about. You know, if they're talking about games that you're not familiar with, try and understand what they're talking about. Ask a follow-up question here and there. You know, if you ever get comfortable. You know, and then one day the conversation will lean in a direction that you're familiar with, and they'll talk about streamers that they watch, and you'll say, "Oh, well, I watch Some Call Me Johnny, and I watch Uncle Silver, and you should, if you've got a Twitch Prime sub, you should go to Uncle Silver and sign up for him." You know what I mean? You sub to him, and you go to his YouTube channel, and you check out his Twitter. You know, that stuff is important. Wait, hey, wink, say no more. Go and link his channel. Later, Jones, have a good one. Greg. Yeah, but sometimes I'm afraid they'll judge the streamer I watch. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, you're right. They're gonna be like, "You watch streamers?" Yeah, MMOs have great communities. MMOs have fantastic communities. I like how even your name is your name in chat is silver. Oh yeah. I did that on purpose. You can choose what color your name is. I didn't know you could, and once I discovered you could, I went right for the gray. But we are gonna be out of time right now, so we are gonna wrap this up. That was I like that though. I like talking about introvert stuff. I know that seems weird, but introversion is something that I've always seen the symptoms of, and always grew up people telling me that it was wrong, that I was wrong for being quiet in a conversation. I was wrong for not liking chit chat. I was always being told that I was wrong for those kinds of things. When I go to a party or when I deal with people and I've run out of energy, that's not right, that I'm not supposed to be that way. And when I learned about introversion and the MBTI test specifically, I remember thinking like, oh my God, this is me. This is everything that I was told was incorrect about me, and it's not incorrect. It's right. It's okay. It's fine to be this way. So I always like talking about the introversion stuff. I feel like if I say I'm into this or that, a person will say, "Oh, that sucks." And you know what? How do you respond to that? You say, "Oh, well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. It's you must just not like it." Or you know what? When I got into chaos,
your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Green Hat Hero X, thank you so much for the follow. You know what I started doing? When people say that, "Oh, well, that sucks," I would say, "Well, what did you like about it?" And I would try and start a conversation in that direction. I would move the conversation in that direction. I want to subscribe to your YouTube, but I'm already subbed. What do I do? I don't. You subscribe to my YouTube? You mean like actual subscribe? I think you just follow me on YouTube. YouTube, don't worry about subscribing. just click follow and click the bell for the one time a month where I make a video, and you're fine. Show off all my uncles. But it's like saying I wish Stan Lee was my grandpa. Wait, Greg has a YouTube? Everyone. Oh wait, I wish you're my uncle. Bert, I am your uncle. I'm everybody's uncle. That's sort of the whole point. Everyone wants to be Rainbow Dash. It's okay to be Fluttershy. I've always been kind of jealous of Pinkie Pie myself. Are you also on Twitter? Oh my God. But that is gonna do it for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out and being part of the conversation, which is probably the most important aspect of it. I love that everybody can come in here and talk. And for any introverts out there who were part of the conversation today, in case you didn't notice, you were part of the conversation. And now those are the kinds of steps that you take when I say steps, make sure you understand that there's nothing wrong with being introverted. Just like there's nothing wrong with being extroverted. Be who you are. Be comfortable with yourself. And if somebody doesn't like you for who you are, tell them to go be themselves somewhere else. Grim Griefer, I see. I got Grim Griefer. Why didn't that? I must have hit that by accident. Grim Griefer, thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciate that. 625. That's June 25th. June 25th, I believe, is the day that I bought my house. But okay, so I always forget how to do this. I always forget the order. If you are watching this live right now, be sure to go ahead and click follow. And if you are so inclined, feel free to go ahead and subscribe. We stream 4 times a week, 3 times our gameplay, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And Fridays, we do our show here, which is 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And you also follow me over on Twitter. And that's where I post all kinds of updates, and I post, a bunch of fun stuff and whatever. And follow me on YouTube, which is where I upload all of these videos, or at least I try to remember to. And, every once in a while I post another video. If you're watching this on YouTube, also go ahead and click follow. Follow me here on YouTube where I do all of these uploads. Check the links down below to follow me over on Twitch where we do the show, and Twitter where I talk about the show. That being said, thank you everybody for stopping in. Let me get my buttons ready. Thank you everybody for stopping in and for hanging out, being part of the conversation. I very, very, very much appreciate you all. Now for this weekend, your homework is to go and play a fun game and enjoy yourself and be safe. Don't go crazy. Avoid some bad weather. I know it's supposed to be cold. And have a good one. And I will see you all next time.